Do you measure your own blood pressure? Are you measuring your own blood pressure? Do you have hypertension and your doctor says, look, keep a log and tell me what your blood pressure is to avoid white coat syndrome?
Yes.
Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Paul Zalzal.
I'm Dr. Brad Wing. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 mistakes people are making when they're taking their pressure at home that are giving them inaccurate readings that may lead to problems with diagnosis and treatment.
Right, and a lot of people do measure their blood pressure at home, and I recommend it. If you have hypertension or have a family history of hypertension, or you're just feeling particularly stressed, measure your blood pressure, because blood pressure is one of those vital signs that is correlated with health very well in the literature. We know that hypertension can lead to medical problems, coronary artery disease, hypertrophy of your heart, stroke, heart attack. We
Kidney
know
disease.
It's a risk factor. It's one of the big 5 risk factors for many diseases. And we have effective ways of controlling blood pressure, pharmacologic and non-pharmacologic. So it's important to know what your blood pressure is doing.
Right.
But if you're going to measure your blood pressure at home, you want to do it properly.
So try to avoid these 10 mistakes.
Okay.
Okay, number 1, proper sized cuff. So most blood pressure cuffs come in 3 sizes: small or pediatric, regular, and then large. So the regular cuff, if you're going to measure to actually get this right size cuff, you measure the mid portion of your upper arm, and it's between 8.5 and 12.5 inches.
Right. What about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, interestingly, Arnold Schwarzenegger had 22-inch biceps.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan used to talk about the 24-inch pythons. He had 24-inch. Not only because he worked out a lot, but both of them would have admitted that they both did anabolic steroids.
There you go.
That's how their arms got so big. So if you have a cuff that is too small, that will usually lead to an elevated reading. If you're using a cuff that's too big, it will probably have too low of a reading. So you need to use a proper size cuff.
Get the right cuff.
Get the right cuff. That's number 1.
Okay, number 2, I'd say, is your arm position when you're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. If you got your arm way above your head, you're going to get a different reading. Just
Wait, you're not supposed to measure your blood pressure like this?
Not like you're asking a question.
Okay.
And or if you have it dangling down too low below your heart, you kind of want it around the level of your heart.
Right.
Because that's going to give you the appropriate, because gravity plays a role in the pressure of the fluid in your body, which is your blood.
Right. If it's hanging down too low, it's probably going to be too high of a number.
Yeah.
And if it's way up in the air, the number's probably going to be artificially lowered.
All right.
Okay, good one. Number 3 is your body position. So that arm needs to be supported, your back needs to be supported, and your feet need to be flat on the ground. So you don't want to be uncomfortable, you don't want to be lying down, you need to be sitting there, chill, supported, ready to go.
Why are you wigging around like that? Just
Why,
hold still.
why are you wigging? Why are you wigging? That's number 3. Number 4.
Time of day.
Okay.
All right. If you're taking your blood pressure at the end of a stressful day at work, it's going to be elevated. In the morning, it's noted to be lower.
Yes, so they recommend actually doing it in the morning because your blood pressure will go up as the day goes on. So ideally the same time of day as well. So not just in the morning, but instead of 7 versus 11, you want to do it essentially around the same time.
Yeah, just if you do it at the same time every day, then your reading, you'll really be able to measure change.
Yeah.
Because if you take it in the morning one day and then in the evening or after a busy day at work another day, you're going to say, oh, my blood pressure is going up. Well, no, it's not. It's going up and down in the day, but on the average over a period of time, you have to measure it at the same time every day to see what's happening, to see if your intervention is working.
I like it, in the morning. That's number 4. So number 5 is do it on your bare skin. So don't do it over top of even a thin fitting shirt or a large sweatshirt. Obviously that has a very real chance of altering and probably making it artificially high or low. Yeah, high.
Okay, don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Get your arm out there.
Get that, and obviously in the doctor's office too, that can be a little uncomfortable because you're feeling exposed, so you can just pop your arm right out.
There you go.
Okay, number 5. That's number 6
I would say
now.
number 6 is, this is actually, how to not have high blood pressure.
Okay.
But if you have a stimulant, something like caffeine or like
Okay.
cold medicine or any sort of medication that does alter your blood pressure, don't take that right before you measure your blood pressure.
Right, and arguably even for 6 or 8 hours, just like trying not to take caffeine before you sleep, it needs to be a prolonged period of time to not have it artificially elevated again. Most of the mistakes actually cause elevation in your blood pressure, and that's the thing that's going to trigger treatment.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. So avoid the stimulants. So yeah, chocolate, tea, coffee, over the counter, pseudoephedrine, whatever. That's number 6. So number 7.
Energy drinks.
Energy drinks, which we're not huge fans of.
No, and we've shown that before it goes up with the energy drinks.
Yeah. Resting appropriately before you measure your blood pressure. So they say you should be sitting for about 5 minutes before your blood pressure is taken because activity can increase your blood pressure. So when you're in the doctor's office, you can take it from the waiting room. and then you go in the other small room where you wait a little bit longer. Hopefully you're sitting there for 5 minutes before. And the 5 minutes is loosely based on scientific evidence that that's how long it takes for your body to reach a steady state, and then you can take your blood pressure. Otherwise it'll be, again, elevated.
Yeah, that's the white coat syndrome thing is when you go to your doctor's office, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're worried about what you're gonna hear, so your blood pressure goes up. So that's why when your doctor measures it, oftentimes it's way higher than when you measure it at home. That's the whole point of measuring it at home, so you can get it in a more relaxed state. Now, if you are gonna do it at home, the next problem you might have is your machine. Is your machine calibrated? Does it work properly? If you have a really old machine, maybe it's lost its calibration. I remember we had a thermometer at home that just stopped working eventually. It was like programmed to stop working.
There you go, 17 degrees.
Yeah, it's just programmed to stop working because I think it's only been shown to work for like, whatever, 5 years or something. So make sure your machine is working. One way you can do that is validate it against another machine. If you have a friend who has one, compare, use both machines, compare results, or take it with you to your doctor's office. When your doctor measures it, then you measure it using your machine and see if the results match, okay? Or even if you go to your pharmacy, sometimes they have those more industrial type machines. Take your machine and just compare to see if you're getting the same results. If you're not getting the same results, one of the machines ain't working.
Okay, I think was that number 8? I think it was number 8. So number 9 for me is not taking multiple readings. So obviously our bodies are constantly changing. Our blood pressure is going up and down, our activity levels, all that kind of stuff. So you want to do it at the same time of day, but you also want to take multiple readings. So even in one sitting, you can take multiple readings. If you do that, you should wait 1 to 2 minutes before the readings, and they advise actually taking the cuff right off. So that even the tightness of the cuff gives your arm time to relax to do it again. And then so I'd say multiple readings per sitting, as well as if you're going to be guiding treatment, multiple readings over days or weeks.
Measure twice, cut once.
Right? No, there's no cutting involved in blood pressure measurement, but yes.
Measure twice, take medication once.
Okay.
And finally, this one would be hard for you.
Maybe hard for you.
Maybe, especially for making a video. Don't talk or move during the measurement. Just sit there if you can for a minute without talking and have the blood. I don't think I could, but if you can.
My wife was sick.
Be quiet. You can't even while I'm talking, you can't even be quiet.
I can't even not interrupt you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of your sentence?
Yeah.
So just sit there quietly for a minute while you take the pressure because
I'm just excited about this topic.
Talking and moving can increase your blood pressure.
Okay, now you know top 10 ways to take your own blood pressure successfully. And this is part of our kind of pillars of health, or our way to be healthy is monitoring your own health, whether that's through your doctor or monitoring on your own, because you have this ability. It can make a huge difference. And high blood pressure is kind of one of those silent killers because you don't usually feel like you have high blood pressure unless it's really, really dangerously high. But that low grade elevated blood pressure for years is what causes that end organ damage that really can alter your life.
If you're one of those people like, oh, I don't go to the doctors, I'm anti-establishment, anti-doctor, anti-all this, well then do it yourself.
Yes.
Take charge of your own health, measure blood pressure yourself. I had a friend who did that. He went into the pharmacy and stuck his arm in just for kicks, and it was like, his systolic was 200.
Right, did he go to the ER?
Almost, because he's that type of person. He didn't go to the ER, but he phoned me, I'm like, go to the ER. But it's, he went to his doctor and he got some treatment, but that was how it was screened. That was his diagnosis. Other than that, he would have never known.
You never know. Yeah.
He would know. Who knew?
Now you know. If you like this video, please like it. Subscribe to our channel. Share it with someone you know that maybe doesn't take their own blood pressure properly.
Remember, you are in charge of your own health, and one way to do it is just take your own blood pressure.
There you go. We'll see you next time.